Hello guys and welcome back to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. Once again, I'm Greg and this is the Starting 11 show. This week it's about choosing which sacrificial lambs get sent out for the slaughter against Man City. Of course, we were going to play them off the back of a league loss. That's always where they're at the most dangerous. So it doesn't look great. In terms of injury news, Demarai Gray and Doucouré are back in contention. The question is not whether they're fit, it's whether they'll play. They'll be in the squad in some capacity, but we don't know if they'll be in the first team yet. For the sake of this video, I'll say they both can be in contention. Both could start. Godfrey and Mina, Tom Davies, Delph, all still a little bit further down the line, which is a big problem for our back line. And then there's the separate case of Mykolenko, who I'm going to not include in this team. This situation, of course, is far too volatile. I wouldn't want to be one to make predictions. And I'm also going to do something quite radical in this video. I'm going to change up the formation a little bit. I think we need more of a presence in the midfield. Whilst Doucouré's free, I think it's a perfect opportunity to try overloading the midfield a little bit more. We saw, against Southampton, Newcastle, both games we were overrun in midfield completely. That pivot hasn't really worked. I know Donny van de Beek looks good, but him and Alan, it's just not quite enough. The only midfield we bossed was against Leeds, and their expected goals conceded are up at 12 at the moment. So their whole game plan allows them to get overrun in the midfield. So I wouldn't take that as too much of a sample for how we're playing. And I would imagine, or what I would do here maybe, is play three in the midfield whilst we have the personnel to do so. Of course, Gbamin is now off in Russia. Looking at the team though, Pickford in goal. I think Coleman's out at right back. Of course, Patterson is still there as an option, but he doesn't seem to be getting anywhere near the first team. And let me reiterate again, this is the team I think will be picked, not the team I would go for. So whilst Patterson is an option, Coleman, of course, remains the favoured personnel. The back two that concerns me dearly in this scenario is Michael Keane and Holgate against Man City. There could be a lot of opportunity for those two to be run amok. Left back, for now, I will say Jonjoe Kenny. I've mentioned that I won't predict if Mykolenko will be playing. For now, I'll just say we'll stay as it is there with Jonjoe Kenny. And then this is where I will change things a little bit. I think maybe if Frank Lampard's learned anything from the last few games, it's that we need some more security in midfield. And whilst, of course, what we want to eventually do is make sure that his philosophy is the one we move forward with, this might be a good game just to say, right, let's actually protect the midfield a little bit and overload it with more personnel. So I think we will not have a number 10 as such. We'll have more of a pivot there. So I think we'll see Alan doing more of a holding job with Van der Beek next to him, and then Doucouré will sit in the more advanced role. I think Van der Beek's got the better range of passing. I think Alan's, whilst it's not his job per se, and never was at Napoli, is the more disruptive player. And then Doucouré has shown in the early stage of this season that when he's allowed to get forward, which that brace would do behind him of Alan and Van der Beek, he can be pretty good in terms of output and pretty potent force in terms of getting forward. So I'd have those three as a midfield. Quite dynamic. I actually quite like how that looks. I think personnel-wise, it's probably one of the best midfield threes, well, certainly in the relegation battle zone of the league. And then the front line, I think, could be Richarlison out on one side, Demarai Gray if he's fit on the other side if he returns. If not, then we'll see Gordon stay in that place. I think Iwobi drops here. And then Calvert-Lewin, of course, up top. It is a departure from what we'd normally see. Of course, you could look at this and say Gray and Gordon could play. I'm sure people would like to see that. It would be very dynamic, and then still have Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin playing up top. But it would sacrifice, meaning we have a midfield too. And I just think we'd get overrun against City if we did that. If we were, going back in time, I know we won't get a chance to play these teams again, but the teams around us, that might be something that would guarantee us goals. But for now, I would say, let's have that security blanket in the midfield. I know it's still not a great team. I think it kind of gets worse the further back you get. We really could do with sorting out our back line. Of course, going into next season, we will have Mikalenko or later in this season, Godfrey in there, Mina if he stays fit for any period of time. Patterson maybe isn't as developed as we thought he would be coming straight in, so it looks like we still haven't fixed the issue of Coleman, unless of course Mikalenko coming in frees up Kenny and he continues to grow as a player at the rate he is currently. But it still looks like a trouble area. What do you think, guys? Is that enough to even contest Man City? Would you go even more defensive? Would you go all out and get at them and attack them whilst they're vulnerable, whilst you smell blood? You know, they lost against Spurs. Do we keep on the offensive, or do we brace and expect them to be on the attack from the first minute? Let me know. Let me know how you guys would line up. Let me know what you think personnel-wise, who you'd like to see come in, who we most need back from injury, and hopefully next week we can be a little bit more buoyant. Cheers, guys.